So we got the most underrated Jordans of 2025, and while we've had a lot of Jordan releases this year, I'm narrowing this list down to just the top 5 of what I feel like are the most underrated sneakers of the year. And as far as the criteria for this list, they have to actually be a sneaker which did drop in 2025. So if they release late 2024, unfortunately they're not going to make the list. These are just 2025 releases which have dropped so far. I'm not talking about shoes which are set to release, but actual Jordans which have already released. So if you guys disagree with anything here on the list, of course that's what the comment section is for. And when we talk about underrated, these are going to be shoes which flew under the radar. They're not going to have resale value, so I guess you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. So to kick things off, before we jump into the list, I did want to give some honorable mentions to the Jordan 1. Matter of fact, like the entire Jordan 1 high overall. We're not going to pick a specific colorway, but just this entire silhouette has been underrated with some pretty quality drops that we've seen released here in 2025. From the Rare Air 1s, the women's, men's pairs, both are dope. You also have the Black Toe Reimagined, a sneaker which it kind of feels like Jordan Brand dropped the ball, originally scheduled to drop late 2024, and then by the time we saw these hit top of 2025, it feels like a lot of people lost interest. And then of course we cannot forget the classic UNC 1 Reimagined. Everybody was loving the Lost and Founds when those dropped a few years ago, but it seems like as far as these reimagined UNCs, they ain't getting no love, which when it comes to these sneakers being underrated, it's actually great, because if you enjoy this silhouette, it means for the most part that you're able to get all of these pretty much for under retail, which if you ask me is great news. And it kind of just shows that the Jordan 1 has been just so burnt out, so overdone, that it almost feels like people are just fed up with this model. But as I always like to say, if you guys like them, I love them. Now, as we get here into the top 5, if you guys disagree, remember, jump in the comments, let me know. As far as my rankings, number 5 through 2, they're gonna be in no particular order, but stay tuned for my number 1 pick as the most underrated Jordan of 2025 that's released so far, because it's a sneaker I've been eyeing, and as far as the secondary market price, it may be time for me to actually pull the trigger on these joints. So stay tuned to see what I got coming in at number 1. Now, as for number 5, we got the Jordan 5 Grape, which when you talk about the Jordan 5s, what a year it's been, celebrating the 35th anniversary from when this sneaker originally released back in 1990. And when you talk about OG Jordan 5s, wow, you got the black metallics, we got the fire red 5s set to drop later this year, but you gotta put some respect on these Grapes. Now, when you talk about the Grape, the last time we actually saw this shoe release, it was actually like a Fresh Prince theme, which had no laces. It kind of felt like a novelty of the time. So it's great to see this sneaker release in like true classic form. A lot of people would say best since the original release. And then of course you got the good Nike Air on the back. Now, as far as this sneaker, it is sitting currently, and it looks like at most places you can't actually grab these right now for retail. But my guess is that won't be lasting for long. Coming in at number 4, we got the Black Cat 3s, a sneaker which it feels like it kind of just dropped and went, but I guess it's due to the fact that it did drop top of the year. One of the first Jordan retro releases that we saw release, and just like its opposite counterpart in the Pure Money 3s, we actually saw this sneaker last drop back in 2007 when it made its debut. And at that time, it was a cult classic. Over time, definitely rose in value as well as popularity. And when you talk about this year's Jordan 3 Black Cat, it kind of feels like the same story. This is a sneaker which I see a lot of people rocking. Again, when these first dropped, they kind of flew under the radar, but it seems like this is one that a lot of people are now kind of doubling back on. It almost has the same effect as like the Black Cat 4s, which is another cult classic, which we're gonna see dropping coming up later this year. So coming in next here at number 3, we got the Jordan 3 Rare Air, the second Jordan 3 to make the list. So I guess 3s have been mad underrated this year. When you talk about the Rare Air series in general, I feel like it's been super underrated, from the Rare Air 1s to the 4s, which are about to drop. You got the 11s coming later this year, but to me, the most underrated and probably my favorite would be these 3s, which kind of feel like they're almost like a play off the black cement 3s. Of course, minus the cement print right here, but definitely a great one, easy to wear. I feel like you could get these off with a whole bunch of cool fits. So I just feel like this is a timeless one. Well, I shouldn't say timeless. I guess the Rare Air feels kind of gimmicky and maybe something that won't be as timeless as say like a classic OG like the cement 3s. But this was a great one. Some people would look at it as maybe like a novelty here for 2025, but I just feel like these look dope on feet, as you guys see from the image right here. So Rare Air 3 is definitely a dope one. Now coming in at number 2, we got the Tila Jordan Flight Court, or Who Decides War Jordan Flight Court. Now when it comes to this one right here, this is the follow-up to the black pair, which we saw drop, I want to say, what was that, last year? So it's cool to see Jordan Brand team up with, once again, Who Decides War on a pair of flight courts with this white colorway, which I feel like the age look on these is super clean. I almost would say I actually do prefer these over the black joints right here. So these ones get plus points, of course, you know, for its quality look. It seems like the materials on these are real solid with that thick, furry suede. These also feature a couple of little scratch marks, which give us that Who Decides War flair. And then, of course, on the back, you got the translucent Jumpman, which features the Jumpman logo, as well as the Who Decides War logo. And I'm kind of getting a Nigel Sylvester vibe. You guys remember how Jordan Brand made Nigel drop the Jordan 4 RMs? And then they gave him his own 4s. Well, maybe with Who Decides War, they're letting them kind of test the water with the flight court, which again, they got to get positive points on this one for dropping a non-Jordan retro silhouette in the flight courts. You automatically got to get plus points for making the Team Jordan look hot like this. So could it be a situation where maybe Jordan Brand's testing the waters with the flight court, and maybe later we'll see Miss Tila or Who Decides War finally get a collaboration on a mainline Jordan retro? She was quoted saying that her favorite retro would be the 5. So can y'all imagine a Who Decides War 5? I would say a 4 would be dope, a 3. I mean, there's so many possibilities, and I think this is a dope one. And we'll see what the future holds for Who Decides War, Miss Tila, and Jordan Brand come 2026. If I had to gamble, I would bet she probably got a mainline Jordan coming up maybe next year or 2027, something like that. And then as far as my number 1 pick, remember, if you guys disagree with any of these pairs or have any feedback, let me know in the comment section. But as far as the most underrated Jordan retro release of 2025 that we've seen drop so far, in my humble opinion, we got to go with the Jordan 3 Soul 2.0s. Now, when you talk about the 1.0s, extremely limited, a South Korean exclusive drop, paying homage to those Olympic Games back in the past, these joints right here go absolutely crazy. They kept the same theme as far as the colors, which kind of seemed to be a play off the white cement 3, so they already got that going for them. You do have the cement print present here. They do have the pre-aged look, which some people love, others hate, but the little detail with the South Korean flag and everything on the tongue, I feel like sets these off, and this is a dope release. I mean, on top of that, really cool box. I always appreciated these right here, but after seeing them in person, it just really set it off. Like, these joints go absolutely crazy. Ever since I seen these in person, this is a sneaker which I've been eyeing via the secondary market, which it looks like are floating right around for retail now. So I'm guessing maybe it's probably now, never when it comes to this drop. You never know, these might shoot up in value at some point. So I probably should go ahead and end up jumping on these before the price skyrockets to the moon, as the resellers like to say. So to me, most underappreciated Jordan retro release of the year. It feels like not too many people really talked about these when the 1.0s would be considered a grail to some people. But I feel like even the 2.0s with the pre-age look and everything, in my opinion, look much better than the 1.0. So when you talk about most underrated Jordans of the year, hands down to me, the Soul 2.0. So let me know what you guys think about my list. Drop your feedback. Just wanted to have some fun, when discussing some of the pairs which I feel like didn't get as much love as they maybe should have here in 2025. So I appreciate you guys. JATV. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you smash the like button. If you made it through the end, let me know by dropping a salute. Of course, I will catch you guys next time. In the meantime, stay safe, stay blessed. And I'm out, y'all. Love.